And we are back. It is another luxurious, amazing, illustrious, boisterous episode of the Pex Pals podcast. I am one half of your show co-hosts, Joel Cupcake. And guess what? That sneaky bastard Calvin is still out of he's not even out of the office. He's
Where
out of
is
the
he?
country. He's out of the country. He's enjoying he was on some mystical island yesterday when I checked in with him. So
Okay.
so everybody, this is a longtime personal friend of mine, streamer, video game player extraordinaire. Some people think we're twins. Some people have mistaken us for each other at points in time. We talk about him a lot on the show. Actually, Cody, you do get brought up quite a bit. Pretty much whenever the wingman and being cracked gets brought up, you get brought up on the show. Everyone, this is my good brother Codyacks.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Good to be here, Joel. Appreciate it.
Of course, dude. Thank you for joining me. Cody, I'm really excited to have you on the show, dude. Like, not only, how long have we been friends? 12, 16 years, something like that? I don't even know anymore.
We at least brushed paths like 15 years ago, so we've been friends like 10 plus years easy.
There we go. Let's just leave it at that. 10 plus years easy. I also love, like, we play Apex and, like, you bring out this, like, rushing, edgy, competitive side of me that I don't have. Like, we have completely opposite play styles. I would not even though this is the mediocre podcast, I wouldn't even put you in the mediocre category. But that's
nice
neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. But guys, Cody, the first time I ever played this game with Cody, he was the one that told me, Joel, stop looting. You can loot stuff off their dead bodies when we kill them. And I was like, holy crap, like that much confidence, bro. It's like it's unwavering. Like I love it. I love it. So Cody, before we get into some discussions like that, we got to give the listeners what they don't pay for, which is our opinions on weapons of the week.
Ooh, okay.
You're the guest. I would love to hear you take the spotlight off me because, as Calvin would say, fuck me.
Okay.
We would love to hear your opinion first.
Ooh. Yeah, man. Ooh, okay. Yeah, so I've been really digging like the scout rifles in general, or the marksman, and generally the 30-30 repeater.
Oof.
I can't believe they gave that skull piercer attachment to it. Getting that first charge shot off with a skull piercer, it's kind of a brutal way to get the fight going, following up with 2 or 3 quick shots, and that's it, man. The time to kill's a little wild.
Yeah, with the charge shot on the head, it's what, 113?
I think with the blue helmet, it's 113, and then with like a purple, it's like 108 or something like that.
Which is still insane, you know what I mean? Like you said, if you're team shotting, or all you really need is another bullet or two after that, and they're fried,
Right.
I've only gotten a chance to use it once, man. I'm not finding the skull piercer a lot, and I'm actually finding the 30-30 way less than normal. But also I'm running Vantage a lot, so I just use her sniper for range and then run double short range. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. But, what have you been feeling this season? What weapons got you going?
You know what? I have not been able to stop playing Vantage. So even though it's not a ground loot gun, I'm going with the A13 Century sniper rifle, aka Vantage's ultimate. For those of you that weren't able to figure that out, it feels good. The bullet velocity mixed with the travel, mixed with the bullet drop, whatever you want to call it, being not really there, and then also like it has something that I wish they do for the Sentinel, and that's that it has a big bullet size. So like you don't get a hit reg issue with the A13 very much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, that's like probably the most exciting characteristic about it is I'm just drawing from memory. I was reading on Reddit. The bullet size is 5 times that of the Kraber. It's insane how much larger it is. So on top of whatever velocity bonuses you mentioned, it's like way easier to land those shots. And then you get that little bonus information from her passive, and it's lovely, man. It's a good time.
It's lovely. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just, man, like I've never been a long range player in this game. You know that. Like until like I always use the G7. I still think the G7 shouldn't have the bullet drop it has. I think it needs to be a little less. But other than, once the 30-30 entered the game, that's when I really felt comfortable with marksman. So I went a whole 2 years being a shotgun guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, shotguns
Like,
and rockets. That's you, dude.
hey, that's always been me, man. Ever since Blood Gulch, baby. Ever since those days. But yeah. So yeah, that's it for me, man. The A13th century, which is that's its name in the Titanfall lore. For those of you, I know we have a lot of casual gamers that don't pay attention to Titanfall. You know that again, that is the game Apex is based off of. You know, shout out to that. Shout out to Titanfall. Hopefully, we'll get Titanfall 3. Probably never happened, but Lord knows.
Like the dream. Yeah, man. And gotta say, like, can't underplay either the fact that you can instantly draw that A13. Unlike Rampart, man. I'm not here to say Rampart doesn't deserve that, but I mean, I'd love to see that. That'd be way more fluid, way more fun, even if she is a defensive character.
Well, you're a Horizon main. That's why we got the Space Mommy background going on. Just a reminder, everybody, we do film the show as well. We do have a YouTube channel. We're right around like 68, I believe, subscribers. Once we hit 100, that's when we can be more legit on YouTube and all that. Please go subscribe to the video channel, even if you don't watch. I won't tell anybody. I promise. That's why I got the Space Mommy's background for you. So, like, Cody, I'm glad you mentioned that because I would actually love that change or something similar to it, or like even like people are incessantly complaining about fucking Lifeline. You know what I mean?
Complaining? What's the issue?
Oh, dude, people still think that they just want that damn res shield back. You know what I mean? People are complaining about her. Her ult needs to change this, that, and the other thing. But maybe there's a way we could factor in what you're saying. Like, I love the Sheila idea. Like, okay, so maybe you only have a small clip for Sheila at 20%. Or maybe you can't put it down and it reloads, but you can use it quick in a fight at a lesser percentage. Maybe something can be said like that for Lifeline. Maybe instead of having to wait the whole 3.5 minutes, if you're like, oh, okay, I just need whites. You just need like syringes and bats, and you just want like the quick, safe shield swap. You could just drop a Lifeline care package at 20%, and then at 40%, it gives you, like blues, and then it's a mix of bats and meds, and then 80% would be, you're only getting bats and up, and then like the 100% is when you get like the smart loot. You know what I mean? Maybe that type. Like, I would love to see that mechanic taken forwards. Horizon entered the game, and they haven't applied much from her to anybody else until we got to Valk. You know what I mean? And so, like, her passive, man, I would love to see that mechanic used in another way for certain people. I do hope, you and I have been texting about it a little bit. Like, the leak is supposed to be getting a moon landing map. And again, the game, not to put any eyes on a Blizzard product, but the game is leaning into the Overwatch territory, and we're getting supposedly getting like a zero gravity area or a potential wall run area.
That's like been a rumor going around for the last couple of years. So like, who really knows? I'm saying. But like, who really knows it? It's a fun idea though. But I think the competitive or the concern is, it makes sense if you have a choice to land there to put yourself on that skill gap. But what happens if the last circle ends up being there and you're putting this kind of unpredictable mobility? Might be a little wild, but who knows, man? Maybe that's part of their philosophy with randomness in the ER arena.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But I think that kind of her passive could, I think maybe, her whole kit maybe kind of is alluding to some stuff that you'll experience there on the moon base. So we'll see.
Yeah.
She still hasn't gotten her town takeover yet either.
That's true. So if it doesn't happen over on Olympus, then maybe we can get it with Seer on the moon base.
So, but oh yeah, with Seer. Let's not talk about him right now.
Is he bringing up some sour memories, or what's?
No, just I think everybody in the scene right now is just tired of hearing about Seer. My guest co-host last week was Wyatt. He's on 2 different podcasts, Grab My Banner and the Apex the Pod. Check that out, listeners, if you haven't yet. I just listened to their most recent episode with Dad Daltushan, and he straight up was like, "Listen, you're an idiot if you don't understand that Seer's not getting nerfed until his heirloom comes out. Like, period."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it just is what it is. Sorry to bring up Seer again on the episode, folks, but we all know it's true.
There's been plenty of there's been like 3 or 4 examples of them refraining from tuning or nerfing a champion until after they release the heirloom. So
Oh yeah.
at this point, it's like to be expected, and really, like, who could fault them? It's not necessarily manipulative if they postpone a change for 3 months for the sake of a sale.
Yeah.
Like, it could be interpreted as additional testing, whatever you want to do. But yeah, as long as it's not like abusive to the point where like
Yeah.
like Seer when Seer first came out, like if he was still in that state and they didn't tune him, like that would be a concern for sure. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that would be like an unfair situation in the game. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
So uh, it's definitely questionable, but I don't think it's at the point where it's worth like being complain about. You know?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you know what? Like, I don't know how all the filing stuff works, but this is still a subsidiary of EA. We all know EA cares a lot about their money. Let's just leave it at that. You know what I mean? So can't blame everything on Respawn or the dev team. It is what it is. It is what it is. But on the note of heirlooms and changes, Cody, let's get
Yeah.
into our homegirl LOBA.
Ooh, okay.
2 episodes ago, I mentioned a conversation you and I were having in our We Are the Champions Apex Legends group chat with some of our amazing, wonderful friends, including my normal co-host Cowvan, and the the one everyone knows about, Fuck Dan. We got the boy Muffin, our boy Waffle, basically the
Colton, dude.
cold ton of fun, the peanut gallery of characters
Rich.
you hear mentioned on the show. Dude, oh man,
We
Rich,
got some
we need to get
comedians.
we need to get Rich to play with us some more. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, we
he's
had those
busy, but
we had those couple weeks chancing into Fortnite, like that was fun. But I just
yeah.
Rich just got you and Rich have the energy, man. Like that's what I need. That's what I love, dude. Like the good. Like I keep listening to more and more stuff. Like this is a mediocre podcast for mediocre gamers, but I keep listening to more and more stuff with the pros, and they just keep saying how like consistency and like practice is good, but also like carrying in the positive vibes. I'm terrible at bringing the positive vibes when I play. That's actually something I'm trying to work on. But like you always have good vibes, but that Rich guy, man, holy crap, dude. His
Yeah,
vibes are
dude.
like
Rich has
it's
really
like
good energy.
he's like fucking audio ecstasy, dude. Like I love it, dude. I
Yeah,
love it.
man.
But anyways, a couple episodes ago, Cody, I name dropped you, Codyacks, the man, the myth, the legend. You brought up how like, I mean, LOBA is a support legend that does no support, and she's long overdue for a buff. And oh, her heirloom must be next, and they must give her a buff.
Well, I don't know if I think she supports well. I think her ultimate's great. Um, if you're in a highly mobile play style, or you're trying to have a ridiculous amount of suppressive fire, you can just keep looting that ammo in the later circles. But yeah, man, I think the lack of reliability with their tactical is a really big concern, though they've adjusted it half a dozen times. Um, it's if you cannot, predictably toss it and get out of a tight situation like you can with Pathfinder, like you can with Horizon.
Ash.
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, that's not a tactical, but yes.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah, pretty much the majority of mobility moves have like pretty solid predictability, and that's what makes them exciting to utilize. And if LOBA can't be there to toss a ring and revive her teammate or get out of poor positioning, feels lame.
Kind
It's
of a
not fun to
bummer.
play. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like as I brought up Ash, like for a long time until Ash was in the game, LOBA had a unique physic where her ring goes in and out of. You can throw it in and out of windows. So she's
Super
the only
cool.
person that's a free like not I shouldn't say instant teleport out of a building, but like other than her, I mean, like there's Wraith, but Wraith you still have to obey the physics of like doors or cliffs. You know
Yeah,
what I
and
mean?
I suspect that's part of why it's maybe difficult to like tune her ability, because maybe they want to retain that slip ability through windows as part of her identity.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I would assume it kind of has to be because
yeah,
we've seen some pretty risque LOBA escapes. You know what I mean?
yeah. So if you
But
make throwing her tactical too easy with that slip ability, maybe that's where they're worried. But still,
I didn't think about
any
that.
yeah, but still, any sort of limitation with mobility feels lame. So
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, I'm always playing the slow characters, but when I'm not, and I don't get the mobility, I'm like, oh man, this sucks, dude. Like,
Yeah.
unless you're Octane, Octane has no right to complain about anything, because he's broken and he's a no brain character. So that's all I'm going to say about that. That's my heat being slung for the episode. But yeah, dude, like, I'm glad Loba is getting this heirloom. It's a fan. It's like a war fan. I think that they really missed the mark with that. I think it should have been her shot baton. Um, how are you feeling about that, Cody? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they've built her identity around being kind of risque and playful, so I think the fan makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
I think the strangest thing in these games is when these characters have like a clearly defined melee weapon as part of their kit or whatever, like Ash with their katana or
Yeah.
LOBA with their staff, and then there's an additional sort of melee to pair with that. To me it seems odd. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's a little. I'm not sure what the idea is, but to me, I would rather have Ash's katana being wielded or LOBA smacking people with their staff. But maybe they want to make it feel more special, which I can totally
Yeah.
get for $160.
Well, and you know what? I do agree with everything you just said, and I actually kind of
Yeah.
understand the whole wanting to be special. But there's one thing we're forgetting. One thing, my friend. You and I are lore people, Cody. More so than some people that play video games.
hmm
Who's Loba's mortal enemy in the game?
I think it's Revenant. I've taken a
And
wild guess.
who's the only person that has a flying emote that uses fans?
Yeah, I mean that was released, I think, pretty early on, actually, like season 6, maybe 7.
Which is weird that why would her heirloom be something in his flying emote? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It
Yeah,
just seems weird.
maybe. Yeah, it kind of makes me want to rewatch the Revenant launch trailer or Lobas and
Maybe
see if there's like some Easter eggs there, possibly.
there might be.
Who knows? But also, yeah, Revenant also has those fans in his art banner, all that. So yeah, maybe there's some history there with assassinations between Loba and Revenant.
Yeah, maybe. I did love that. That was some of my favorite lore that they've ever put in the game. You know what I mean?
It really hasn't kept up, man. That like season 4 and 5 had actually interesting kind of narratives driving.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since then, it's kind of just been random, convenient, like, oh, you're my brother, like with Crypto and
Yeah.
Caustic. That was silly. Uh, but
Oh,
yeah,
wait, what,
dude.
I must admit, when did that happen? I must have missed that.
Yeah, dude, that was like season 8 or 9.
Oh, I don't read those comic strip things anymore, man.
It's
I,
in the Pathfinder's Quest book as well.
oh,
If you,
see, I haven't read that yet. I need to read that per your suggestion.
but yeah, it was a big part of the comic books, I believe. But it's pretty silly that they're related.
Yeah, see, that makes no
It
sense.
feels
And
like
like,
some Star Wars shit where they're just trying to conveniently string together
yeah.
relationships.
Well, and then now they did like what when Horizon dropped, it's like they're like alluded that like not Horizon, but like the doctor she was working with before she was sucked into the black holes, like who made Pathfinder and like like some of that stuff. And or no, sorry,
Her
I'm
son
not.
made Pathfinder, yeah.
Yeah, her son made Pathfinder, but then like in the video where like the doctor that as Ash gets knocked out, there's also Horizon's alive back then before the black hole. Like they did a lot of weird tie-ins, and it's like, well, where's the payoff? Like you said, season like 4, 5, 6, basically everything up to Rampart coming out made a lot of sense and was beautifully done. You
Yeah,
know,
dude. I get their association, like Horizon and Ash, for example,
mm-hmm.
doesn't excite me, I guess. I don't know,
No,
like just because we have a cutscene there and there's some revenge. I don't know. Maybe they're not delivering it as effectively as they
yeah.
could, but I know this whole comic book stuff has been an experiment and works for low budget, so
I mean, I haven't even been paying attention, and I love this game. So,
yeah.
what does that say?
Yeah, I don't know how many people actually are really into it, but think about how many people skip cutscenes too. It's
Yeah,
kind of the same thing,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
So and probably like 1/100th of the cost.
Yeah,
uh,
true.
so
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I mean, I just remember when they introduced Watson, it like made sense. That tower crashed because crypto hacked it. They didn't introduce crypto, but then they're like, oh, Watson's the daughter of the guy who invented the Apex games. And then there's like she showed up, and then it's like that right there is
or
in and
I
of
think
itself.
the daughter of the guy who invented the
The
barrier,
ring.
the ring.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, but like
yeah.
either way, that in and of itself, then you have that season where Mad Maggie's taking over the barrier, controlling the ring. You could have had this huge whole beef with Watson and Maggie.
It's
But
true.
they just left it as the fuse story, the fuse intro story. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Well,
I
I
get
think
it, but
yeah, Maggie was data mined to be an announcer again, so maybe that'll be an opportunity to get Watson involved.
ooh, okay, interesting. I wonder what's gonna go on there. But yeah, so Loba, man, I'm excited about that. How do you what kind of buffs do you think we're getting, Cody? Just ballpark me. What do you think? Like, what do you hope for? I know you're a Loba stan. I am too.
For Loba buffs, you know, this has been said a million times, but it makes so much with her identity. You know what I'm gonna say is claiming the revive banners with her ult.
Hmm.
Even if that means they have to increase the cooldown of her ult, I think that's a pretty fair trade-off.
I agree
Um,
completely.
if because the real power in that is being able to not only claim the banner but also maybe get a mobile respawn from that same ult.
Hmm.
So that combination is ridiculous, but that is really is what's going to define her as a competitive legend is if they enable that.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I think just allowing her to have a little more flexibility with her tactical on top of maybe some hitbox changes. I think that would be fine. Other than that,
yeah,
she's pretty good.
yeah. I mean, I think that keeping the tack, making sure it works, I think is the most important thing. Let's go that far. You know what I mean? Make sure the tack works, and then I agree. Get the claim the banner. Maybe like I've seen a couple things on Reddit and Twitter about like, oh, like I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, you should be able to pull bats and cells like you can ammo. That's stupid. That defeats the purpose. But like heat shields or mobile response being free, like you get one additional, so you can choose two of any item and then one. What do they even call those survival slot item?
Survival. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Are you saying like she can have two survival slot items or?
Well, no, I'm saying you get your two regular items and then you get a third square, and that square is a survival slot
Oh,
item.
that's fair.
So the
No, that's a
survival
good
slot
idea.
item doesn't because she's supposed to because the whole thing is she's supposed to be a support legend.
Yeah.
But
No,
but
that's
if
actually a really clever, like
yeah
mild buff that wouldn't affect the grand scheme too much, but it gives a little more flexibility to your trio, you know? So
yeah well, and also especially with the changes to the ring, which everyone is also pissed about. Yeah, I think they're going to stay pretty hard on this. I don't think they're going to revert that. I know everyone.
yeah, I think you're right. I think they'll be pretty stern with at least one of the changes. I imagine they'll keep the time change,
Mhm.
maybe revert the damage because it's a little high, but either way, if they're stern with it, I'm happy. Like it's just something for people to get used to, and what it means is the games are going to be quicker to the action because you're just going to be spending less time looting,
Yep.
and
Which I
you're
think is
gonna
good. I think that's healthy
yeah,
overall.
and it'll help maintain the average game time in a way, right? Like
Yeah.
it just lowers those variables, gets the action going, and I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then I mean, and I don't know about you, but like we all know that skill based matchmaking, if it even exists in Apex, is poorly done. You know what I mean? Like I hate when I'm in a pub game and I'm already running with the ring as it is, and then I just get aped by like the only pred squad, but they're like hanging out in the ring because it doesn't hurt. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
so as a mediocre gamer, I love that change. I love the ring changes. Bring them on. Piss off the pros. They ruin caustic. You know what I mean? So that's all I have to say about that. But I think you're right, man. I think Loba, like especially like man, even on my little notepad, I put an exclamation point next to Apex Legends Mobile, dude. Like she could already do it in mobile. The dock drone already follows you around if you're lifeline. Crypto, now his drone floats behind you and tags enemies behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, can Apex Legends Mobile make the main game look any more worse?
Yeah,
And then the first legend they gave them was what, or the second legend was another healer. So they already have more support classes than the main game. Like, I know it's a different dev team.
Pretty funny. Well, yeah, and part of it too is cell phone game balance is much different than PC and console. And what those auto drone things are accessibility bonuses, because it's already difficult enough to control shooting and mobility with your thumbs. So you want to reduce that friction as much as you can.
Yeah.
So even if it is a potential balance issue, they benefit greatly from empowering the player to have more fun with mobility, which is a core philosophy for Apex. So, yeah, I don't think it's an invitation to dog the main game, but I think it's a great suggestion box in a way and gives us a peek into what could come into the game.
Yeah, like I'm not necessarily saying I want Tracer to be put into Apex Legends. You know what I mean? Because that's basically what the first legend was. I don't know if you paid any attention to the mobile game.
Oh, is that the Fade character?
Yeah, like his tactical is literally he recalls like 4 seconds prior
Yeah.
to where he was. Like, it's literally Tracer. And then yeah, so but I like what you just said there. A lot of people keep comparing the games. I think it should be like almost like, hey, maybe if it works well enough in mobile, they will bring it to the main game and make all of us happy. You know?
Yeah, and we gotta think like PC players have ridiculous potential for control.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have an easy time taking care of all this stuff, but it's a disadvantage to the console player, then maybe we want to lend that accessibility to the console player too, just so we can bridge the gap in a
Yeah.
way different from aim assist.
Yeah, and I agree with you because I mean that's what I said. That's one of the things I've been bringing up for weeks now. Is like, I know that doesn't matter. A PC is always going to outperform my Series X. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that there aren't good skilled console players on Series X or PS5. I'm not saying that, but the outperformance is always going to be there. And like, I mean, we still don't even have a timetable on when we're going to get the 120 frames. Because I feel like
I
the game
know,
would be
it's
the game
horrible.
would be at least slightly more fair if we were at least like able to kind of match frames with PC players.
Yeah, you know what? Something I kind of forget about too is the majority of PC players aren't hitting these massive frame rates, right?
Yeah.
We're part of a group of friends that enjoys upgrading their PCs, so we're used to hearing about 120, 240 frames like it's normal. But yeah, that's definitely not the case. So when we're playing on Xbox against these players, um, you're probably going to notice when they do have the advantage, maybe, but you could probably have some confidence in knowing that's not a consistent experience.
True. True. Yeah, and where the frames don't matter, then I do feel like you have processing speed, you have some things like that. But there's definitely like some computer players where I'm like, how did I just you let me do that to you right now, bro?
Man, don't. Dude, I cannot underplay a Volt or a Peacekeeper in close range against a controller. That is terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so rest easy knowing you're a threat.
Okay. Thank you, brother. That's I wanted to hear that, and I know we have a lot of listeners on the show who still play on console and also who still run controllers. So I'm glad we have someone speaking for them because Calvin's one of those mouse and keyboard nerds. So you know what I mean.
Oh
But
yeah, I mean we are better. Let's be honest. I'm kidding.
oh, there it is. There it is.
I had to. I had to. I mean, for Calvin's sake, I
It
owe him
wouldn't be.
that.
It wouldn't be. It wouldn't have been. You wouldn't have been doing anybody justice if you didn't say it, Cody. So thank you.
True.
Thank you. But yeah, so I'm stoked. Listeners, what do you think changes we're gonna get for LOBA? The DMs are always open, the emails is always open. We're Pex Pals podcast everywhere. At Pex Pals Podcast. Follow us on the socials. We're the most active on Instagram, but we do tweet, we do TikTok, we do I mean, I have a Facebook. Who even uses that grandpa boomer platform anymore, though? You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. Of course, our YouTube channel, and then our website, and we just launched a Discord recently and a merch store. Join the Discord. A lot of good discussions. Looking for group stuff. Really trying to get that going. Really want to build up the community of mediocre gamers here, revolving around not just the show, but just our love for Apex Legends.
Yeah,
You know what I
dude.
mean?
That's the coolest part of being a part of a popular game is the community is massive and you can get those conversations going and build those memories and have fun, dude. So I'm glad you're doing this, man.
So thanks, man. I appreciate it. And you've been a supporter of the show, even though you're not a supporter of the Mozambique for like a long time. And like,
Hey, it's earned respect over the last
yeah,
couple seasons. All right.
it has. It has. I wish I remembered who that Europe player was in ALGS. I brought him up last episode too, Cody. Somebody was straight up running Spitfire B camera points into like the top 20 teams. Like they were in the finals running that Lodi every game. And I was like,
Wow.
respect, dude. Whoever
Yeah.
that person is, and Jin Burton for running the Prowler, like respect on those two, dude. Like
Loadout representation, dude. They're
dude,
bringing it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So Cody, hats off to you for being on the show with me, for
Oh,
also
dude,
being
thank you.
psychic that like LOBA has to get a buff. Like it's like literally
Probably.
like
Yeah.
you and I had this conversation, and then like I saw some people saying similar things on Twitter. I had my guest on the show last week agreed with your idea, and then literally like 2 days after I recorded with him, it was like boom, data miners leaked, LOBA heirloom confirmed. Like we better get that damn buff, dude. Like I agree that like there's certain things we can't really change about characters. Like I love when you and I have that argument about Gibby. Like he has the 360-degree protection. You can't get rid of like you can't change his character anymore.
That's his identity. So, but like so much as it is like basically a second ultimate, that is who he is.
Yeah, exactly. And LOBA's is the store. So you can't alter it, but you can make it better. You can improve it. And I really do think like we've seen people use LOBA and ALGS. We've seen pro streamers run her. I mean, I've seen some in crazy plays, where people are running caustic LOBA and you hide the LOBA alt somewhere. And instead of worrying about anything, you just the second you get cracked, you run to the store, grab a new shield, and then just keep frying. And people are like, "Wait, what just happened? Like, how did you get that?" You know what I mean? And they can't push into you because of the caustic gas. This was, of course, before Noco Puffs complained too much and got caustic nerfed. But you know what I mean? Like, but still, like she has a lot of versatility. Dude, final circles, she can be amazing. I mean, especially like if you're somebody who plays comp or is trying to break into that scene or watches ALGS. I know I get annoyed mostly because of my poor skill level, Cody. I hate when it's just 3 Gibby bubbles and it's just people fighting with PKs because I can never get the timing right on my end. But you know what I mean? You start having more people run LOBA, your cryptos and your Maggies suddenly really change the way those final circles play out.
You're right, dude. And I think we could still probably use 1 or 2 more legends with the ability to break the bubble, but I'm glad they're going beyond crypto, adding Maggie. And even if it does have to be an ultimate, I mean, that's fine. It's a 2 or 3 minute cooldown to disable what a lot of people lean on as, pushing strategy.
Oh, yeah. Well, we label a lot of guns like crutches on the show, but like the Gibby bubble, I think is the biggest crutch in the game.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible, and on top of the 15% revive speed bonus from Gibby.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
we'll see what they do. But I like the direction it's going. But what's crazy is that, like, to me, Newcastle's buffs are what really are ousting Gibby.
Dude,
I thought
completely.
I thought the bubble destruction and kind of giving him some exposed weaknesses would be the call, but seeing Newcastle have that mobility with revives is a little like upsetting almost.
Well, and then like the knockback and the stun, and then the stun from the wall, like the amount of just like with Gibby, it's like here's a giant beacon I'm rezzing, but with Newcastle, like if you pair it with like a bang smoke or a Gibby ult or a bang ult or even a Horizon ult, like you can really distract the shit out of people long enough to get that res off.
Yeah, it's not hard to imagine. And by the way, have you seen that crazy exploit I think Taxi 2G was really popularizing with Newcastle,
Which one?
where
Oh, the
he
slide.
was, yeah, it was like a slide jump, like
Yeah,
pretty much
like is
faster
it?
than sprint mobility, and he was like
Yeah,
bouncing them around. It looked insane.
yeah. Like so. So I believe for you, those of you listening, the exploit if you res and you push forwards and there's like a cliff and you fall, you can actually hit. I think it's you hit crouch while you're falling, and then when you land, you're just like super skidding,
Bouncing, yeah.
well resing the person. Like you just get like the most insane movement buff. But then I mean, I don't know. Taxi's been banned like 5 times, so maybe don't do
He's
things he
begging for
does.
it. He's begging for it,
It
dude.
literally like yeah, like the data miners, like that's like a normal thing. It happens with every game. Taxi's just out here like,
He's
can
being
I?
childish shit. It's hilarious and dumb, but funny to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah, exactly. You know, there was even rumors they're not going to let him compete in like the low level tournaments and stuff for a minute. But I
No,
know that I think
it's
that got
fair.
overturned because he was just in. I think his and hers live just posted it just at a tournament, and Taxi was on one of the teams.
Okay.
But yeah, man. No, Newcastle is. You know, last episode we talked a lot about that. How like Newcastle is just like not even factoring in Mad Maggie, just completely edging out Gibby.
Right.
You know what I would like to see though, Cody, is the Newcastles and the Gibbies of the world. I want them to suffer, and the Ramparts suffer for a little bit. Do you remember for seasons Watson's pylons would destroy friendly caustic items?
Oh, like the poisons?
Yeah, like you couldn't place the mines or throw your ult by
Oh,
a
you're
friendly Watson
right.
pylon.
I remember the
You
ult
know,
especially.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it was the barrels at first. They did fix that like after like a season, but then it was the ult for like another like 2 or 3 seasons, and they just finally fixed it this not season 14 but 13. Why not make Watson overpowered again? Why not make her mess with all your teammates? You know what I mean? And like just leave Caustic alone. Like let Caustic have his fun. You know, like let's let everybody suffer a little bit. You know, that's just I'm just throwing that out there, putting
Yeah,
that out
so
into
what's
cyberspace.
why is Caustic played less than Watson these days?
I think you know, I think a lot of it is the shit talk on the internet. Like, oh, you're trash if you play Caustic. You know what I mean? But I disagree with that statement. I think he's a character that like, yeah, he's an easy out, but like it takes skill to play him well. You know, anybody can go into a room and barrel up, but like knowing when to use an ult for cover, knowing when to use an ult to pop the res, knowing when to use the barrels to be aggressive into an area where you have a down. Like sometimes I'll run out, and if I know, like if I'm open cover and their team is behind like a rock or something, I'll run out and I'll just start throwing mines over at them, knowing that I might get down, but having the confidence my team will finish the kills. Especially if I'm playing with someone like you or Calvin. Like hell yeah, I'm gonna go Leroy Jenkins in. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Because the thing is people will rush into gas because of how much it's been nerfed and they don't care. But people still treat gas like bang smoke if it's thrown at them. Like if you hit somebody with a caustic ult that's not expecting it, they're gonna panic. Whereas if I have a caustic ult going off defensively, some people will just rush right in and not care.
Yeah. Yeah, even if he is the least exciting of the 4 main defensive legends or 5 defensive legends, he still is probably the most threatening to duel inside a building just because of the slow. Not even the damage tick. That slow just allows you to flatline or Eva them with complete ease. So,
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I
um,
think the episode before Calvin left, I even brought that up, man. If I'm caustic, especially with this buffed Eva 8, bro, you give me that Eva 8 with a digi threat, I have no fear of you pushing me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like none at all.
yeah, dude.
So I agree with you there. But Cody, I wanted to get your opinion. So as I mentioned earlier, everybody, Cody is a very aggressive player. When he plays Apex, well, in most of his games, but especially Apex. You know what I mean? And I love that. It teaches me how to play the game different when we play together, Cody. Like I love it. Like, yeah, sometimes I'm like, bro, slow down. But like it's also like having a fresh take. You keep the vibes positive. Like it makes me want to do better when I play with someone like you. But it also means you have a different outlook on the game. So the next thing I want to discuss is, you know, Vantage. I talked about it on the show last week. Wyatt my co-host last week, he said she's got a great framework. She's got great bones. She has the potential to be a really good legend. Definitely needs some tweaks. I said she definitely needs some tweaks as well. She's the highest pick rate in the game right now, Cody. Like it's incredible. But I think what do you think the best pairing? Like, what's your meta Vantage squad? Like like team comp. I want to hear yours, and then I'll list off mine. Give me if you're gonna do full aggressive squad with Vantage as one of the 3 legends. What are your other 2? And then what's a full defensive squad?
Yeah, so I think my favorite, especially aggressive squad for Vantage, is gonna be Newcastle. Having a legend that can match the mobility and jump up multiple stories is really helpful. Not to mention his cover from his ult is perfect for
Yeah, literally perfect.
Vantage to pop in and out of. And then Pathfinder, I think, is actually maybe not considered for this, but what's unique about his mobility is another enemy player can't follow, right?
Yeah.
So with Horizon, if you throw a Q down, the enemy can chase you. If you use Octane's jump pad, they can just jump with you as well, unless you're really quick and shoot it down. But yeah, with Pathfinder, they can get to the top with Newcastle and Vantage, and he can close the distance between Vantage's knocks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you're playing Vantage or working around Vantage's kit, you probably want to focus on picking people one off at a time, and then being super aggro after that.
I would agree.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Newcastle and Pathfinder.
Yeah, for me, for my aggressive squad, similar reason to you, I would use an Ash. Because I mean, especially if you get the double tap on someone in a house and you knock them, you just phase tear the whole team in through the window, wipe the down, wipe the other 2. You know what I mean? It's something easy. Even then, the Ash and whoever the third is teleports in, and you can keep picking through the window, with the Vantage. And I love that option. As far as if I'm pushing, probably would depend on the map for who the other aggressive legend would be. I do love the Newcastle toss out for the mobility. Depending on the map, if you're doing a map like Olympus and stuff where there is a lot of building fights, I actually wouldn't mind seeing for the assault team that is, even an assault caustic. 2 mobile legends would be great. Everyone's been so far up Seer's ass lately. I do kind of like the idea of if you did Vantage Bloodhound Ash. I think that's what I'm going to go with. I think that's the perfect, because the Bloodhound, whereas he doesn't have the height mobility, when he pops that ult, he gets the speed advantage. So even if you miss the Ash teleport, he pops on ult. Vantage pops, her echo location or relocation, whatever we're calling it, and they all can converge on the target where the down is or where the thirsted one is.
No, it's a good crew. I like that. And I think, I gotta admit, I didn't think about Ash too much, but that might be even a better choice than Pathy in some ways. Especially if you're sniping as a crew from far back.
Yeah. Well, one thing we need to try, Cody, next time we run together, and I've brought up this tip numerous times on the show. I still have never seen it actually executed in a game I'm in. I've only seen clips of it. There is an unrealized exploit with Pathfinder and Caustic.
Okay, what's that?
So what do you do? Are you aware of my only remaining complaint about Pathfinder? I don't know if you caught that episode.
What's that?
You can't destroy his zip line. I actually think it's unfair.
Yeah.
I think it's unfair to Pathfinder. I think it's because not only do you give away your location, but the enemy can just follow you up. You know what I mean? So there's an exploit with Caustic, Cody, where if I put a barrel down and you launch your zip line on top of the barrel, and we get to the destination, if you turn around and shoot the barrel, it actually despawns the zip line. This has been known about for seasons.
Yeah, it's same with the doors too. It's so how it works is if you shoot the ult at anything destructible, it'll go away.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so if you shoot it out of a door and then shut the door, it'll kill the zip line.
Yeah, exactly. Or blow the door up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that about the door trick either. So you taught me something.
There you go, dude.
But
Yeah.
next time we run, like I think we should try that. Do the caustic thing, and then because then we can maybe get some crazy locations and turn around and blow the mine up, and then magically your zip's gone. You know what I mean?
That could be fun, and I think they naturally make for a good combo, having the defensive poisons up top with the sniper perch. So could be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think Pathfinder Vantage Caustic could be a pretty.
That could be fun.
That's a pretty fun team. I personally like. We did a whole like half an episode. Calvin and I did where I think Caustic Newcastle is like an immensely underrated combination right now.
Yeah,
like I think more teams should be running it. I think so many people are so quick to push him out of the meta. But I mean, if you think from a defensive meta, if you're running Caustic C or Newcastle, you shouldn't be losing a fight.
Yeah, man, that's a pretty oppressive group to push up against if they have the poison set up right. So
correct. Yeah. But anyways, so back to Vantage. What would your if you're playing slow, like if you're just playing slow, doesn't necessarily have to be playing safe, but if you're running like a defense team with Vantage, what are you running?
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Rampart. Rampart, possibly even I think I'm gonna go with Rampart and Valk on this one if I want to play like a smart defensive team, because I know Valk got completely nerfed, but even afterwards, her utility is still pretty clear, and having that flexibility to reposition with the legend that can set up damage amplifying walls is massive for a sniper. So something maybe I don't know if Rampart's amp stacks with Vantages, but even
I believe it does. I believe it does.
Really? Wow, that's remarkable. So even more of a reason. That should enable two-shotting on purple targets if you get a headshot.
Yes. I believe you're correct. I have to try that out, but I'm pretty. I mean, I've seen plenty of stuff on the internet alluding to the fact that it does indeed stack.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. I like that. I did not expect you to toss the Valk in there. You surprised me with that one, brother.
Yeah, man. Like, I think she's being treated almost exactly like how Seer was when he was nerfed. Like, by contrast to their previous model, sure, it's mangled or nerfed a bit, but in the grand scheme, they're still the best at what they do.
Yeah. I like that. I have an interesting pick for mine as well. I'm actually going to agree with you on the Rampart. I think that's wonderful because, like, dude, I mean, even if you take the walls out of the equation, you get a Rampart that's skilled. I mean, dude, the Vantage with a sniper shot plus a Sheila.
I know.
You need to say anything else? Like,
it's a lot of pressure.
And then my third, so you have cover handled, right? By Rampart, right? Mm-hmm. You have the ability to quickly escape as Vantage. You know, she would be the only one that I would really imagine would be out of position. You know what I mean? Hopefully your Rampart's smart enough to be running like, you know, a Spitty or a Rampage or something that she gets the reload bonus on, right? That needs it. So the Rampage is laying down cover. So what else do you need? Heals. For this defensive squad. I'm not going to go with who everyone thinks I'm going to say right now. I want to say Mirage.
Okay.
Think about it. If you're getting sniped by a Vantage, that mark only lasts, what, a second and a half?
I think so. It's pretty quick.
So the Vantage hits somebody on your team, Mirage instantly decoys, pops his ult. Someone gets down, same thing. You Mirage ult, let the decoys go out a little bit. You go for the res. In theory, you've got a Rampart sitting there with either Sheila or a Spitfire chugging away. You know what I mean? Would they actually just kind of silently buffed Mirage? Now Seer sees all the decoys, and now Valk picks up the decoys. So you no longer can get Valk dropped on.
Yeah. So those are great buffs. I'm glad they did that. Have they adjusted or made it clear if this is intentional how Vantage hard counters Mirage?
No.
Because I'm sure you know that when Vantage aims down sight, she can identify who the clone is. It like highlights in blue.
Oh, I didn't know what highlighted it in blue.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So
So it's
she
kind of like a
can.
digi threat.
Well, it's how her passive when she's aiming at a target, it like marks it for her teammates.
Mm-hmm.
So that applies to Mirage too. So she can identify who the clone is by aiming down sights.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, so Mirage is like hard countered at the moment,
I
since
actually did not know
Vantage
that.
is so popular. Yeah.
So if you're ADSing and if you're looking at it, the armor won't pop up. It'll just tell you it's a clone, pretty much.
Yeah, well, it straight up highlights it for the team too, so everybody knows who the Mirage is.
Wow.
Yeah,
I did
dude.
not know that. Holy shit.
So like a lot of these Mirages have confidence that they're going invisible, but you're just highlighting this invisible target that can be blown up.
Wow. I actually had no idea about that. I'm going to assume that wasn't intentional post his buff.
Well, it'll be fixed once Vantage's heirloom comes out.
Yeah, well, and one thing I've noticed with her is like she has wall hacks too, and I don't think she's supposed to. You know what I mean? Like if you're fighting in the upper story of Cage and they're in like the little cement area, along the cliffs, like you can straight up just see and it'll show you who they are in their armor.
Well, that's because I think in the code those aren't considered walls. The same applies for the Skull Town walls that are like kind of cages. You can actually shoot through those like it's nothing's there. It's just a physical visible barrier, but you can shoot through it normally. So
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, because I know like I brought it up last episode too, but like I was playing Vantage and on World's Edge, there's the house up on the cliff that overlooks Geyser, and then to the right is Lava Siphon. There was
Okay.
a team running at me, and in that lower area, which is like just dead man's land, you know what I mean? There's one of the containers that the ends are open, so it's the container you can walk inside, and
Yeah.
you can't shoot through that. But every time, we were hunting somebody, and when they were in the container, I couldn't see them visually, but my visor was giving me the data where they were the entire time.
Wow, I didn't know it did that. That's pretty surprising.
Yeah, so I think that there's definitely some unintentional stuff going on with her. I'm assuming that Mirage thing is like, I mean, you already have a character with a low pick rate, but to like that's just a slaughter counter. You know what I mean? Like that's like, wow. I need to look into that more and probably talk about that next episode with Calvin. That's incredible. Thank you for dropping that one on me, brother. Like,
Yeah, I imagine that's part of why he's still unpopular is because the most popular legend completely destroys him.
well, then I'm gonna have to go back to my meta squad and I'm gonna switch that out. So I'm not, I'm gonna stick with the Vantage Rampart for defense. But if we're gonna go support, I gotta bring in um, probably honestly the LOBA, because the LOBA you can keep getting the ultimate accelerants for the Vantage and the Rampart,
Yeah.
which just further
Candy
breaks
store.
things. Especially because Rampart can put down what 3 Sheilas at once now.
I think so. And
So
man, that'd be super oppressive. Imagine if you just collected all the ammo in the zone and dumped it in your building so nobody could loot it when they came towards you.
yeah, exactly. Like that, and then like even having a final zone where you're like, you got 2 Rampart walls and 2 Sheilas, and the third person's Vantage with her ult going.
Oh
You
man.
know,
That'd be super oppressive.
yeah, and then you also have, Rampart. I mean, her role is to shoot Sheila until she dies. That's a. I'm sorry, if you're a Rampart main, you don't realize your position. Tough shit. You know what I mean? But Loba with the bracelet and Vantage with Echo can both escape if you do get bum rushed or flanked. You know what I mean? So I'm changing. I'm taking Mirage out of my squad. Sorry, Waffle, if you heard that one. But yeah.
Nah, that's smart to have matching mobility. I think it can be a little unfun when one character in the squad can get away and the other two are stuck on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Cody. Well, I want to wrap it up soon. We try to not do too much longer than an hour.
Cool.
I got 2 more quick things for us to talk about. The first is not even a discussion. I just straight up want your answer.
Sure.
Because you have an articulation with the way you explain things that I just love. I even love it more than Calvin. Sorry, Calvin. You know what I mean? You and I have
Sorry,
talked a lot
man.
about this in our group chat, and I know other people agree. But for the mediocre listeners on the show and our friends that listen, why is control vital for the longevity of Apex? Why is it in theory being permanent mode at some point in time, or at least coming back once a season? How is control important for the game's longevity?
Yeah, so I believe at the beginning of this season, a developer confirmed it will probably never be permanent. And I think I agree with that after playing Control on and off for 2 seasons. The biggest reason is, there's so much less variability that the outcome is a lot more clear, which is less exciting in some ways. So the repetition is going to come quicker. And
Yeah,
if you beat that fun repetition into yourself for too long, then it's easy to succumb to burnout. Um, and that's probably not smart for a developer to enable their player base to put themselves through that. So, um, yeah, I want control to come at least once per season. I think what we need is an increased frequency of LTMs,
yes,
and then juggle through like probably 2 or 3 really amazing, fun LTMs to just stick around.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And then I think we did get the biggest spike the game's had in a while was from Control. Why do you think that was? Was it just because it was fresh and then went away? Do you think it's because it appeals more to the Call of Duty people? Well, what is it?
I'm so sorry, man. Could you repeat the question again?
Like Control, we had a jump. The game had a jump in viewership and a jump in users.
Oh,
I feel like it goes up every time Control's in the game. Why do you think that is? Just picking your brain.
yeah. I don't know if this is for certain, but I want to say when the Control first came out, that was around the time Nick Merckx and a bunch of the COD community sort of converted.
That's
So I
correct.
think that was more of a coincidence than anything.
Okay.
And it's crazy to think one person can affect viewership so much, but he reflects, 30 to 40% of total viewers at a time. Um,
Which is crazy.
yeah, it's wild. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Just that influence. If it's still spiking over time, then I really am unsure because, in my opinion, Control is not exciting to watch. Battle Royale is way more engaging. Anything with you know less
Yeah,
predictable outcomes is probably going to be more fun to watch. So,
true.
um, yeah, I think I'll go with that.
Perfect. All right. All right, everybody. Thanks for checking the episode out. This has been my good friend Codyacks. Cody, I know you don't stream too much anymore, but you do post your clips places. You do stream every once in a while. Anybody that wants to find you and follow you, where can they do that at, my friend?
Yeah, so I still really enjoy posting clips on TikTok at Codyacks across the board. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Um, yeah, thank you again, Joel. I had a great time, man.
Dude, of course. Yeah, we got another worldwide sensation here, guys. Codyacks, Soul Cupcake, both of us worldwide, same username, no matter where you go. That means you can
That's
find
right.
us on Google. Cody, as you know, we're metalcore boys here on the show.
Oh yeah.
We come from the same background. So one thing we started a couple months back was Fuse's Motherload music segment.
Ooh.
Fusey is the resident rocker. We all
Yeah.
know he's also the homie. I mean, who doesn't love a good like some of those Fuse plays we've seen that we've done ourselves are just makes the game. It makes the
Yeah,
game
man.
fun. It really
Fuse
does,
rules.
dude. Exactly. So this segment honors him. Doesn't have to be metalcore. Usually, that's what we end up suggesting. Do you have some music that's come out recently, or an album, or a song you've been spinning a lot lately? You want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, I have a good answer actually. There's this Australian black metal band called Midnight Odyssey. I've been completely obsessed with, and the song "Hunter of the Celestial Sea" is what I've been having on repeat.
Excellent.
It's atmospheric, really vibey.
Sick.
Nothing like
Okay.
super heavy, but if you want to just chill out and hear like some catchy melodies, I recommend it.
I love that. I love that. That's perfect. And I'm gonna wrap the show with my music choice. Gotta go with the boys, Cody, the homies. Spite dropped a new record called Dedication to
What?
Flesh.
Okay.
It's hands down their most like fast. It might not be their most piss material because that's hard to say with Spite, like which album's more
I
piss.
mean, with Nickelback back on the scene, it's tough to compare. So I
Oh, I
get
know,
that.
dude. I know. That'll definitely is gonna be my pick next week. Don't worry about that. But yeah, the boys in Spite released a new album called Dedication to Flesh. Check that out. I'm Joel Cupcake. Worldwide, you can find me at that handle, just like you can find my boy Codyacks worldwide at Codyacks. His
That's it.
links will be in the show description. Um, please don't forget, subscribe on YouTube. It helps the show. If you want to help the show the most, doesn't matter what platform you use, reviews. Reviews are the number one thing that help podcast grow and get better, other than you just like telling your friends to check the show out, of course. So drop us a review. We got the link tree up. It's got links to everything, listen, watch, merch, Discord, all the socials. You know it. It's there. It's around. I'm Joel Cupcake. This is my amazing, phenomenal, lovely, wonderful twin, temporary co-host, fellow beautiful bearded man. That's 2 weeks in a row I've had beautiful bearded men on the
Thank
show.
you.
I feel like I'm doing something right here. Everybody, we'll see you next week. Cody, thank you so much for being my guest, brother.